Okay, hello and welcome. We're here at the second round of the World Othello. No, actually, I think it's the third round. World Othello Championship 2019. We're watching the game between Chun and Jacky.htm from Canada. Lee is from Hong Kong. I seem to have missed the beginning. Sorry about that. So I don't know which opening they played, but it seems like a very even position here. Both players have chosen a different side on the board. Lee is playing black. Fu is playing white. And let's see. No.
It's the connection.
So the camera connection unfortunately is not working, so we'll have to do with live Othello, which is working. So let's just stick with that for now. Maybe the camera will work at a later stage. So I will try to commentate on this game and try to figure out what the players are thinking, why they are making certain moves. There's a reason why I'm in the commentary box and they are playing at the World Championship, so I probably will be wrong most of the time, but I'll try my best anyway. So let's take a look at this position. It's Jacky to move, and he's playing white. Just leave it like this, I guess. Thanks, me. Okay, short interruption. Let's take a look here. So, some more moves have been made. Now, if I was white's to play now, I think b6 is the most obvious move to make. But then you may want to prevent black from playing d8. And you could do so by playing d8 yourself. So I think white might be deciding between those two, b6 or d8. d8 is nice for black to play because it takes away the opportunity for white to play f7, because then there will be a Boskov swindle. So you don't want that. So it does make sense, I guess, for white now to play d8. Which black would probably answer by playing either b6 or g3. But let's see what white's move will be first. I'm going to check back with the camera, see if we have any image yet. No, this is completely frozen. Sorry about that, it seems like we have to do without it. Well, I am spilling coffee all over this expensive laptop. Sorry about that. So, it's not just you that has to do without the image, it's also me. So, I can only guess what's going on right now and if live Othello is still working or not. We'll just have to wait and see. So is there any other moves that white might be considering in this position? We've discussed d8, we've discussed b6. D2 might seem an option. F2 possibly. So there's enough to think about at this moment. I think all of these seem reasonable, playable. So let's just wait and see what Jacky will go for. Oh, E8. Okay, that's not one I expected. E8 creates a little weird region for white where he can't play himself anymore, the D8 square. And you prefer not to have those because it's a potential parity switch. If that doesn't change, white can lose parity. So we'll see how that plays out. It took long enough to think about it, so I'm sure he feels confident. So, Chun 1 has answered by playing b6. Oh, it's going faster now. Followed already by h3. And h2. That seems logical. I think white will want to prevent black from following this up with g3. So can do that by playing there himself or poisoning the move by playing f2. He's playing g3 himself. Then it seems like this would be a good time for black to play f7, but maybe he could also save that move for later. It seems like the time to do it now. It's a very quiet move and it may not be possible at a later stage, or at least not as good. So, any image? No, unfortunately. We're still staring at an empty board. But at least we've got this as a backup. So is there a downside to playing f7? Because it seems like Lee is taking his time here, considering other options. I suppose white might follow up f7 by playing d2, which seems like a reasonable move, or either that or g6. But I wouldn't know if I were black at this point in the game which move would be better than f7. So let's see. And there's the move to f7 that we predicted, and also the follow-up to d2 that I predicted as well. So I'm not completely in the dark here. I can predict some of these top players' moves. apparently. So, new position on the board. Let's see what will happen next. Even with the odd region at the bottom of the board, I think I would prefer to be white in this position. It just looks like he has a nice control of the center, good position of his discs. He has a bit more discs than Lee has, but still, it looks like a much nicer position to play to me. So what can black play here? E1 seems quiet, but is easily answered by playing C1. So I don't really see the point of that move. E2 could be an option because it will break that nice centered white block. And white will probably answer that by playing E1 to get it back. So, is there really a point to that? Possibly not. Are there any other options? You've got there's a move to G6 maybe, but if I were black, I think I wouldn't want to open up that region because it will make his unbalanced edge vulnerable. It's probably best to stay away from there. So E3, possibly. Let's see. Even well, after playing E2, white will directly take back those discs by playing E1 and keep his nice centered block. It will force white to move to the edge first, which is something you probably don't want. So it seems like a reasonable move to me. Also, I don't think I'm seeing anything better. Oh. So that's a bit unexpected to me. Black played G6, allowing white to make a move in that same corner, which could be either H5, forcing black to answer with H6, opening up this unbalanced edge, building further on this unbalanced edge, or white could play H6, which I probably like less, because it limits white's options in that region. So, does black have to play there? I think so. Well, not necessarily. If white doesn't play there and chooses to open up on the east edge, and black would play. Oh, well, no point in thinking that through any further. They already made their decision. Okay, so there's an unbalanced edge now. This allows white to maybe at some point in the game make a bold move to G8, which seems dangerous but really isn't that much anymore because you can easily sacrifice that south edge, because you can always wedge and take an entire edge and the corner. So white is opening up on the east first, which makes sense to me. And black, how should answer this? Maybe by playing c2, which seems like a nice quiet move because white doesn't have access to e2. But black can also choose to play either a4 or a5 if it doesn't want to lose any tempos on that edge. So let's see what he will go for. I kinda like a4 because it does create another odd region like the one at the south edge, which is never nice to have, but then white's response to a5 would be really bad because it flips a whole lot of discs. So I think it's not bad to play. I think black's position has improved somewhat. So nothing to see here. And back. So any other things, any other moves that black might be considering here? I really don't think so. The moves on the south edge are just terrible. I think you want to stay away from the northeast corner. There's no point in opening up a region that's been sealed off for white. So the east edge is the obvious thing to do. He went with a4 here, which I think I would have chosen too. It's a logical move. So how will white answer it? Probably not by playing a5, but rather c2 or b3. And if white doesn't like those moves, but I think they're pretty good, c2 is probably nice because black really can't answer by playing b3 because it will flip too many discs. So that seems, yeah, like the thing to do. There we are.
So now if G1 is played by black, donut trap is not available. The reason it's not available is because
so what should black play now? It seems like all moves flip more discs than you'd like. So none look particularly good. I would probably go with e1 here. It will force white to play b3 to take away a nice quiet move. And I really don't see any other good options. The other ones are just way too loud. They flip so many discs. There's really no good moves for black on the south edge. There's no good moves on the east edge either, so he has to break up. He has to break open the north here.
The question is now, black
So
cannot take the bottom edge.
e1 seems like the move to play here, to me.
And black will either have to put the whole of the F column in stopping.
Let's see if Lee thinks the same.
Allow white to take the A8 corner and then the A1 corner, and save the A column as well. So that's really not a no-go. So black has to play through
By the way, if you have any questions about
the right-hand side.
this game or maybe Othello in general, you can just put them in the chat. Someone will check regularly to see if your question is interesting enough, and we will get back to you through the commentary.
What is the best way to play through this board on the right-hand side? And it's a very important decision because a lot of moves look relatively similar in value, and there'll be subtle things that make
So black is thinking about this a lot, even though there aren't that many options, it seems. So I am wondering what he will come up with.
normally a very quick play.
Maybe some
He plays
genius solution
things that
I haven't thought of yet.
and he knows the strategy and how to turn those openings into winning games. So very often you'll find he plays very quickly. But he is taking his time here. He's actually taken it for 3.5 minutes longer than Song, who's only taken 6 minutes. No, 10 minutes so far. But
There we go. So we did choose to play a loud move. Apparently he didn't like e1 very much. This seems like a move that white will follow up by playing e2. And maybe black is thinking about securing that h1 a8 diagonal.
because as I said, if white does play e8, black either has to
So
right
I'm thinking
time
e2,
or allow white to take the corner. So
but then not g2 directly, because white will play f1 and get back on that diagonal.
but the white pawn remains intact.
But it is something to watch for in future moves. Still, e2 seems like the move to make here.
Black can play b7, and then when white takes the corner, you see getting the last one in the region, and leaving the whole of the wall on the right side. So black
If black doesn't,
the bottom left corner,
if white doesn't play e2 here,
and half of the bottom,
maybe black would like to,
it will mean that
but then white can answer by playing b3. So
can't play any,
there's no
and it would be his
real need for white to play e2 now. He can save that move for later,
and there's
but then he'll have to think of something else.
if he plays out.
Well, that move was always an option, because black can wedge there, but then white will just play g7, play out parity in the region, get a corner and the entire edge. So there's no real benefit for black to play d7. It seems like a smarter thing to do is just to keep it like this and hope maybe that region will be a parity switch later on in the game. So if I was black, maybe now I would be looking at a move like e2 possibly b3,
Black will have access back to G1, but if white can play out the
d1 maybe,
the top left corner, then
something in the northern region
which means
of the board.
left corner, white will have the leg and then they'll be able to take the H1 corner and that whole edge. So white may, if white looks all of that and then makes a judgment call, and makes a judgment call that it's not good, then what are we looking at is the bottom edge and saying, okay, well, is there a different way in which I can play the land? For example, or C7, it doesn't look good.
So black's taking its time on this. I still don't think he will be considering d8. It seems like white's response is obvious and there's no real gain there. So e2 will be followed up by b3. Oh, d1. That seems like a better option to me too.
So white would play, it would go from here b1 for black and then c2 for white. Black would not have access to
And then it seems like white will play e1 here.
the wall, which again has been Jan's plan all along. If you can get black to play through an ugly way, then white gets to start choosing responses. Or every black
That's the most obvious move to make.
black has to play through an ugly way.
Black can follow up by playing
So what Pianat will be thinking about at the moment is
f1.
white take this top edge. Or do I
And then maybe white
so do I play b1 now and take the edge and keep up the pressure?
will play e2, but it will open up the diagonal. Okay, e1, f1, that makes sense. So does white want to play e2 now? Yes, he does.
Because if white takes the top edge, then black can sacrifice with b2.
Okay,
Again, by sacrifice, I mean give the corner away, but
so
you imagine
black may be thinking about
so black going to c2, white
taking the diagonal at some point,
b2,
just because
white going to
he doesn't have a lot of options,
last move in the region,
and it might be
whole of the top edge onto the edge, h1 corner.
white won't be able to get access, will they?
That's not to say that white will take the edge even if black offers it. But it's the kind of thing that black would be looking at the moment. And again,
So black can't play g2 now, because white will have a move at a5, getting back on the diagonal. So what black might be able to play it at a later stage, but he needs to think of a different move now. And it seems like his remaining moves aren't that good.
But if he can't find a way to play through nicely or get onto the diagonal to allow him to play G1, then white should end up taking control later in the game.
I think maybe
So now what he's done is he's refused the top edge.
black should be considering a2 here, because if white wedges there, obviously he will get the corner, but also the b6 disc will become white, allowing for a much nicer wedge to d8. And the other moves just don't seem very good. Playing d8 now is not a thing to do. c1, b2, b3 are the other options, but they're all very loud, limiting black's options dramatically. So g2, no good, as we discussed. White can easily break the back by the diagonal, so I'm thinking a2 here. And let's see if Lee feels the same. Oh, okay. So Lee chose to play the diagonal after all. I guess maybe it makes sense. I guess the a5 move can be answered by playing d8, taking back the diagonal, but white will play a7 after that, and black will play b7. It might work. So does white have any other options? White could sacrifice the h8 corner by playing by playing h7, but if he wants to, maybe he should play out the eastern edge first. So I'm thinking maybe a5, d8, a1, a7, b7, h7. Well, that's a lot of thinking ahead, so that probably won't come true, but we'll see.
So, for example, if it was white's move, A1 allows B1 and then H1. So white would end up playing B7 as well on the way back edge.
White really doesn't have
So white really doesn't have
that much mobility anymore, so his options are also limited. It seems like the diagonal will, the way the diagonals play out will very much decide the outcome of this game. A5 makes a lot of sense to me at this point in the game. Well, h7 first. Okay. So as I assume black will just take this, because if he doesn't, then white will. Oh, he doesn't. Okay, interesting. So white will A5. Why isn't white taking that corner?
Another move on that right edge. So I don't know the exact order of moves that Pilatus is thinking about, but he's going to take the corner quickly. He does. So
Interesting.
this is, I think, looking very strong.
So let's reevaluate this position. Black to move. He might want to take the HH corner there just to secure those edge discs. White will get local parity, but doesn't seem too bad because it's only 2 discs.
So he really wants to leave those, but he doesn't have many choices elsewhere.
And it will prevent
In playing elsewhere, he's
white from taking the west edge.
enough discs elsewhere. So it's quite likely.
And another option that black might be considering here is playing A2. It will allow for white to play a move to B8, creating another wedge opportunity. But also, if he doesn't play it, then white can follow up with A7 and get a nice edge there. So it seems like something he would consider.
So if he plays h5, then white could play h4, which opens up black moving into there again. Pilatus chosen to play h3. So normally at this stage in the game, white is looking to play parity. That means find the odd region to play into and get the last move in those regions. The difficulty is that the odd region is accompanying his own edge. So if he plays into the odd region, then he gives black.
So playing A2 seems... No, it really doesn't. Never mind. Forget about that. Let's move on. I think I would probably just play H8 here. If I was black, secure those discs. It creates 11 stable discs, no, at least, so. That seems alright to me. And then follow up by playing A2. So white will be forced to play in 2 even regions. And black might get local parity there. So 5 minutes on the clock, if that's correct. Lee has been using a lot more time than Jacky has. He still has 14 minutes left. Right, okay. That was a quick follow-up by white. He already thought this through. A7. So should black play G7 here? It seems like it would create a huge stable region. I think I would. And then It seems like white doesn't really have
That was actually really interesting.
all that much options.
What you'll now notice is that the center
So I'm thinking G7 here.
diagonal is all white. So although black has a lot of stable disks, the even region and the top left and the even region and the bottom left are
G7. How would white follow that up? By playing H1, then black can play G1, white can play C1, and black can play B8. It doesn't seem like it would work very well for white. So, is there a downside to playing G7 now?
the last move in each of those regions.
G7.
You'll just follow
Oh,
black around the board now.
we're going back. Apparently, Live Othello wasn't correct. Something changed.
It's going to
Okay, well, that does explain for some
that was very nice.
very odd moves, I guess.
The things I missed
And suddenly it's looking a lot better for white.
how early he'd signal. But with the taking of the diagonal from F3 to C6.
And we're almost there. Looks like a win for black this.
So it made
39-25. Too bad about what happened at the ending there. Couldn't really follow. Well,
white didn't have any choices.
was a fun game anyway.
White played
Glad you took the time to watch. Hopefully we'll see you next round. Bye bye.
He was going to give up too many discs. But managed to also get the diagonal, which allowed him, meant that black didn't get the edges that he was hoping to get along the top. Anyway, a nice game, and